我的人的我说我没有你没有，就我没有的没有，我没有这没有，他对的没的就没这我你是的，作为上节嘛那你当把的了就这了，多年前就是在这边了，就是在感觉点这话，叫那边嘛点这样子，所以的说现在两种说，我本来这边那么了嘛些，到给就那边的人呢，我这边我这些了，我从头讲我都在对说。Good morning, everyone. Everyone. Ah, yeah. 나 예세 무지 통면상 거든데 손으로 난게 시단 따고 마투나 치 따고 티베 칼라디스로 디시 참단 인지 마보지 란주도 제셀라니 손으로 세상 말한도 수수 셈난게 아니 따고 셈난게 차단 아니 란진지 또 계시셔도 문주도 요도 차단도 들어 도다 되돌아야다 되도 많이 물다 맞나 아니 치게 말한저 지다다 세아로도 가져 파 매워서는 근데 매워 차야게요 말했어 김제인데 인자네 한저 찬죽습니다 닝제도도 되저 막본게 아니 다워디지 파 시당게 님보 참바고며 어딘데 검제네 매우 속으로서 다들 덴버로 ngwe ne zuru ba redo ha
As Gyaltse Tongme Sambo has stated in the 37 practices of bodhisattvas, if you don't subdue the inner affliction of hatred, then it's impossible to subdue the outer enemies. So, therefore, armed with the militia of loving kindness and great compassion, subdue your inner fault of hatred. So, this means that essentially we have to recognize the enemy is within, the enemy of Chadangilo, the twofold attachment and aversion. And if those afflictions are not subdued within ourselves, there's no end to the external enemies that will appear to us. So therefore, with great compassion and bodhicitta, although we are not used to it, we can cultivate loving kindness in these minds as a remedy to hatred.
당연한저 강인来的 수수 셈랑게 순조래도 소도 지방은 내당 변화 다 잠불링나 지당게 치 직종에 뇌제다 미세베 뇌제 망고지어들래야 수수 삼로 샤시나야 강에 대해서 매든 여러분이 연구 여러분고 내당 지구직 ඥා이네로
Okay. Well, looking at that then, a lot of difficulties are made by our minds ourselves. Of course, there are these worldly things like the disturbances of the elements and problems made by humans. But if you pay them no heed, you can leave a lot of that behind.
맞아. 아니 산산라지 강에도 휴지 텐데야 돼. 야 삼로 단단 찍도네 강에 매우 차려야 된대 도와로. 삼로 신다질 바다나. 강에 당기 강에 요새야 돼. 야 강에 매우 차려야 된대. 강에 넘버 많이 있냐 된대 차로. 그래서 셈디 주어로 나르다로.
So oftentimes we think we are in difficulty, but it is a mental attitude. Because if we change the mental attitude, what we think is a problem is not really a problem. So it's trouble that is not trouble.
다 디저릭도 먼저 낭배숑다 심기 정도 만 트레이닝 세우라 저be 야고요레 이나야 인데저 람산 주거단 돼야 된대 개요 말에 팅상 안저 미상원 인스턴트 그거 여러 봐 단다 뒤에 말에 투주 거로 그러면서 심 유바다야라다 투주 거도 거달 학바도 나다오도 비야 로야들레 산조도 학바도 저와 쉬우치 교부치야 말다 곰시 망보 쉬우지 간저 냠바 망보 쉬우지 규릉 보쇼 셈나라 착부차 자러와
Yeah.
아니 디 람산 유바단 투에요 말들라 칼레 투주 거그래 다로 충중도 부구 충중도 틱스 타그로 걸 탄다 kumshi yakbata duga nyinga kaya tanda shira dwaya raya mara, tuzu raya mara. Ta nga dawa ina ta loya ngabju yapsa diyo ne, kumshi ngenbe ri mangbo che yor, kumshi sanwe ri mangbo che yor del ta, sanwa di da nga dhul kazu yaga di da kazu ina kemdwa. Duga di, ane kange so yung gore, di kashe gyuwa lam sanbe di, tanya dinde pijin, kagwa shivaji, lobjong ina 칼레 주어도야로 진냠네 이네 곰 냠네 이네 아랑즈 미다미 데와도서 베 주릉 보지네 야고 차오르면 호법라 줘야 개면도 어디서 다 가리 이네 뭐뭐 가리 이네 걸 투주 싱제 아니 베 가서 그래 준주 된제 다 간다 셈기 정다 돼야 될라 인지 틀리 저러서 give up 마체베셔로 미투제 직 제대비나 아니 로 카셰 로 망보 질라네 수수수래야 섬로 직다 오다 데스 교도샤 섬섬치나 다다 디쇼지래다
So, talking about the methods within Buddha Dharma to tame the mind, to train the mind, the Buddha Dharma sources teach about that, but this is not something that happens at once. No, change can take place, but not in an instant, not immediately. It takes time. It really takes time. And some people, particularly who have come in contact with like the teachings of Tantra, expect change to be very fast, but forgetting that the habits we have in our mind of non-virtue have been habituated for a very long time, and therefore they've become very ingrained, trakpo, very solid. So in that case, this mind won't change easily. This is a reality. It takes time. So it's a little bit different if we look at children who are fresh with perhaps less tendency to follow those imprints, good or bad, or have the bad habits ingrained. But if I look at myself, I'm like 50, so I might have some good imprints, but the bad ones I've got, the bad habits I've got, they don't change easily, not at once. And also, even through study, the experience of study and practice and meditation, it still takes a long time to change. So we try and do our best and, meet with whatever conditions that come up. But to coin your English phrase, never give up. So one should put in the effort and remember that taming the mind takes a long time. And then over a sustained period of time, if you notice some small change, that would be a good deal.
학과르데 당나서 단대 뒤즈들라 갱에 톡드 샤르바스야 되서 배 야고레도로 갱다 갱에 뭐 망부지 요르다 단대 뒤즈를 도가 만나서 나자디 내ям디 갱 독자 쇼지래 아니 중외기 갱이야 강에 망고 다 계승이자랑 온라인에 미지기 뇽바 탑제 셈툭제야 미망고 마지워서송아
Yes.
어딘데기 겐 따면도 쉬우지다 망보여 되장을 두즈 상마 아니 소소 직셈기 셈 쉬워서야 당 셈기 디지페야다 난 닝제 페야다 참바페야 된데가라 파삼 당기나 아니 겐에 바디기 양 톡드 샤스 이제 겐에 람드 케와스 어디 뒤 중나 아니 내가 교보 강에 전부 나는 되네 냠네 다가랑 약부 연구였다.
Moreover, in this time, the negative conditions are there for us to help them become a path, as it says, to be able to turn adversity into one's goal, into one's path. Well, the negative conditions we face are like a COVID presently, and also in the world there are a lot of disturbances with the elements. These are the conditions we're facing. Recently in Auckland, there was like a violent terrorist attack, and then people get shaken up with that. So now what we're facing are a lot of conditions that if we really practice well, can be a condition for us to cultivate compassion, to cultivate love, to look for the bliss of inner mental peace. So what this is very much the conditions which act as a support, not a hindrance, but a support for our practice, or we could say turning the negativity into the path. So that way these negative conditions can be positive.
배나 기신 미디 올랜레 미세니디 다 삼로야 고스타메이나 먼저 레 낭베 슝네시나 렌데라요 데와요와 디 미디 자왕아마 다 미신다드즈 코란 파세베 레그 데부디 단다 미디 디파세 데부지 용식으로 디나 렌데가 남샤레 디간즈 주도 시부치에 게임도 다 가시 디토라 삼로 땅제 네베 미디 두자레서 지지 야고마 야고다 두자세 디시다셰 코란 레그 데부 미디 요디 데부 두데게 데 디간즈 시부시부 주도 치에 말들 산제게 산제 장매진배 마튜베서 산제의 전에냐 투두에 그 렌데가 남샤세야 돼 뭐이네 주세야 산제의 주어단에 말아 봐 담마투가 맞다 델레야 그 줘야게 말아 뭐이네 주디 수직이 줘야게 말아 제가 그 렌데가 남샤래 미디 미카제지 파다 뇌즈 땅와데 디즈 미디즈 경아마든 델레야 미디를 파 뇌즈 땅에는 거라 레그 데위 미라데 삼로 찍다야도 와데 티 오다 코란즈 렌데 남샤 멤버에 아지다 펜지 상말라야 아니 다직 두조 레랭에 베드부즈 파세나 야고요레 삼단도나 아니 딘데게 삼단 직도 삼모몽다야로 와다들.
So there's a lot to reflect on karma in this regard with regards to what happened in Auckland. The situation, if we look at it from the perspective of Buddha Dharma, there is the cause and condition coming from past lives that results in a particular event. And we tend to overlook that. We tend to overlook those underlying causes and conditions and just maybe immediately say, oh, so-and-so is bad. And we really don't take into account the karma that is behind the whole event. Things like that. That there was a dependent relationship that was going on there. So Buddha said that he cannot change the karma. In fact, no one can change it. So it was said that Lord Buddha can teach the law of reality of karma, but cannot change it. Nobody can. So in that sense, although this perpetrator in this instance harmed others in the past in terms of cause and conditions, one would have to say there is a cause there, and we tend to overlook that.
다케시 코란 레드 사바이네 다그 단다파 네버제어디 미신다드즈 코란다 시자르델레 야 미신다드즈 니 제와질레야 미신다디 코란 파세야 레사인데 아지다디 레겐베 두디 마미베쇼르와 다 동에 주소라가서 아니 동에 나와라 동에 텐드기 자와당 아니 동에기 주당 태와 삼당고 로아시나 드즈선데 아니 닝지 삼다야도 와들러와 디베지 네즈디 둠로지 발라발라 잔라마 데베시제네 닝지 제야다 니스 참바제야다 안델미베 닝지 칸데스 제우도 데돌라 수수원에 치토베야 가르도 어딘데 삼다나 킹이 토디 샤브세데 용투고 여러 테 멤버 체제 베지 밀레 내주리지 파셰서 말아 취셰서네 미파제베 심마 마지버스 야 딜데네 야 딜데네 바로 마지버스나 랭에 마사그다로 나란데
Okay.
제단데 디즈릭도다 총어그나라 그 요베 인자도서 수수 뒤윤게 닝제 샤르제도 난다 데가나 키tum나 아니 킹이 톡샤서야 돼 징에 람디 켜서야 돼 두시 용고여라 참다 닝제 마본지 란주도 제살라네 참바다 닝제 오게 수수주기 차단 매우 마세 닝제 표현데 차단로디 용고 말아봐시나 제가 어디 다 단대 주주들 다 주주 삼노다나 펜도 요레스로
And in fact, that cause and effect relationship between the harmer and the harmed, this person in this situation was in fact killed, and then there is a karma there too. So in that sense, we often fixate on the story and lose sight of the whole thing. That because what he'd done in the past resulted in him being killed, and then others had to affect that result of his death. So in terms of what's being said here is that the great compassion has to look holistically at the cause and result, rather than it just be a story that we bandy about. It would be much more skillful to see this in the light of compassion for the parties involved, and more importantly, what can one do about it as a condition for one's turning these seeming negative circumstances into the path. But if it just becomes a story that upsets you and you get affected by it, in a sense, that's creating more negative karma, isn't it? But it's not. It's a real life situation that if, in fact, we look at it, then it can become negative conditions into positive, and negative conditions into the path of our goal of enlightenment, as Tongme Sambhava said with the 37 practices. Avert, take up the militia, the mind training of loving kindness and great compassion. This is the practice of bodhisattvas, to avert hatred.
다치 들으니네 먼저 아니 단다 되어 봐 가서 더대와 싫어 뭐 시루나 다다윈 배철라라 지금 오부터 이제 다다와시 득배대 셈나라 그 상로다나 고주 시비도 하대 좋아 다 시루나 다다윈 배철스데 다 대오다 모홍바디 여말다 다 다다 민도 안 원하시나 지금 좋아 너 제선 기생기 내주 도가디 다 중차월에 연주 양자 해야 되나 펜도민도 알아 먼저 단다 내대와 그거는 야구체 기부체 수수 답변나 될라 남시 기부도 거기 숨부도 로아다 강님도 주저 답변 윤종 기부도 니마 기부도 다 되서 야 기부여버데 하고 제 대비나 아니 다다외 간다 대제 야보다 그래서 괜히 내중원에서는 찾아라다 양자 해야 되네 그래야 들어 펜도민도 대버로 오늘은 대사로 지금 먼저 실은 다다와 매캡해야 돼요. 때문에 덴바도다 돼. 때문에 다다와 돼. 먼저 돼야 돼. 다다와 가는 데거든요. 저기 신다 춘을 도서면도 와셔서. 돼. 거대 니나 야고도 다로. 시다. 대부 차차래. 양자 수용 아니 여말 양자 대간을 셔 양자. 같이 저야 춘에면 그 뒤 이내 대간을 셔야 돼. 다 대도 하네. 다 대다네. 저는 되게다 먼저 생기디지 상마 떠오르고요. 다 간다. 생기디지 심리디지 도서라고요 말이야. 그 디제디 거르gebje 되더라. 제가 두대기 싫으나 다다에 미쳤어야 돼. 굳이 야보다 알아.
One of the Buddhist tenets, those that follow those that follow reasoning, the second of the 4 schools of Buddhist tenet, say that if it is a functioning thing, it is necessarily the present moment. The present moment. And this is a very big point for us. So let alone in reality, think about past and future, you can't even find the present moment. Well, the past is gone. So what benefit to keep bringing up the past? Not, in context of news we hear, we tend to bring it up. But actually, think about it. Today we are here, the day's fine, the view's okay, the sun is out. We should recognize the present reality, the present moment. Yesterday's event has gone now. Why bring that up again? So that notion of the future and the past, leave that and just try and take in the present moment. Because if you keep doing this, bringing up the past, there's just no end to that. And what it does is it scatters your mental bliss. It scatters your mental peace. And you just go round and round in this loop of thought. Then you'll never be peaceful.
And in Buddha give advice. There are lots. I think some advice is like that. You be midway, or midway, and be humble. They say, be humble, and live present moment, and look. They say, lam uma, ani nyemjung chis, and two tadawa gam des, and shen la zawa, zeweng ni zerawa de sherab de demba shije. So to win and nature mezi di turn the mayongores. In the song do Tomajun de Zewegane Todi and Sherab Ningji dia, Sherab than Dembegone. Sona that dinner la the dude than the non Zinyam Chia Samudinan. Jinan Tuzu Tadabagan de song do di. The labja chamber shoredo.
To keep the mind in the middle between extremes, to remain humble and stay in the present moment. Further, to look upon others with love, supported with wisdom. All of the practice we need to do is subsumed within that, isn't it? Think about it. Our great compassion should have wisdom as its support. And, well, all of that remaining in the present moment, that's a very big point.
And then how to live present moment, they said, enjoy what you have, be content, be content.
Yeah.
Be content and need making reason, simple reason, make you happy or joy. Present moment, you need to recognize your joy. And yesterday you're hungry, already gone. Today, no, you're hungry. This example, give this one. Kisan chogoto, but the drink kiran chogoto to Ezra.
So is yesterday's empty stomach still there today? Are you still hungry?
So the Zuda Labja, when they read or around the Medina like hidden, midway said, and it could you that dinner some do there, don't listen. Roa, Jik Betty, Soja, the pet chupu shujil, son of Madan. Joan, then and the Subu Sotumara, and Soja, the Soa dea. And it's Gaya, Doya, the Beshuya, Paramati, Pado, my but Tanyum Giza. Shame were only chick dewa chia the chicadu shoes, a gando che, and the chick do ya. Susu Casa de la Yan, never general, Wakashi never jigdo, Susula Goya de Maradu, and a parabola never jigdo. That pay messy do Jarwa. The Miller partner, the Maumba Susu to Neuro, Takanda, Linde Yorwa, the Zurich do, and a pay. le dukja shuji sago warda lakwa de susu kase midi la ya ane susu lu koya de marade ane pajo bal no ba shuji jene tinde da lu ju shu tinde do ta tungo yesu thoma tinde do an de da be ningje da ningje yu na ga ningje yu re da kan da ro
When one thinks the advice to remain in the middle way, everything is contained within that. Everything. On the one extreme, you wouldn't want to be so poor or down and out that you can't sustain the body. So that would be one extreme. On the other hand, one needs to have this notion of contentment, satisfaction. And similarly, when things are going well, not to be too up, too excited. And then there are extremes because you might not get what you want, that you harm others to get what you want. And these are other extremes to be avoided because the law of karma and behavioral cause and effect is there, non-virtue. And such results of those non-virtues, we can see many accounts directly today of those results. And those results that we see in play are the objects of one's compassion.
ay da an zo gom de jarwa
Yeah.
당보 골론 de gom je jon motivation de 드링 내가 성에 융하게 저간 채워되는 신의 편법발식 지기 제 gom de jarwas
Let's meditate first. We correct the intention. The actions, my physical and verbal actions today will only benefit other living beings. Please set your mind accordingly.
Oh yeah, ta. Kau kum lo. Nga tinde ki samba sambo ji yo ti kau kum.
Have joy around that, that one has such an altruistic heart. Rejoice.
Now we will do breathing exercise. Breathing exercise, you need back straight and then straight, go straight. And breathing in, long breathing out. You need just awareness. Now I am breathing in, now I am breathing out. Now you leave with your mind present moment, few minutes. Now you awareness your short breath in, short breath out, breathing out, short. You need awareness. If you recognize your breath, then you can counting. Now we do breathing meditation, counting your sub three set three nine round, three set three nine round. After that, you stop breathing and counting breathing, and then you awareness your present moment, peace and calm mind. 아, 다 chāngzō māngbō jī tsukdi tā sāñi māgī tsindā nyendē kī yorā. Anē yā breathing meditation, breathing khatū yu na uk jāngyāng tāni kāshē nyop chūgō yu rwa. Uk tāngō khurāng kāla midā gu kōmyā yorā, midā gu. Uk tsū tāng, uk pā tāng tū tāngi tsū tāng yā jīg tsā duwa. Anē tē uk rē rē pā tsū, kōrā rē gyab rē tū tā rāng lā yā 깨지 gyuwa chukwa yu, uk gyuwa chukwa yu wa di shen gu yu rwa, wane shi na. Thawraa ka lang zi samlu mangbo tanga yu rwa. Tire sang sang kum jam na ya gu yu rwa. Uk tsu tang, paa tang, ane sim dhaa ma na ying rwa na, ane uk tsu tang wa de, paa tang du, tangi tsu tang wa de de tsa rwa. Yang tsu tang du, tangi paa tang ya di de tsa rwa. Tanda khaan yu wa di kan, tangi ngoma di de tsa rwa. Du si chi na, ane 미다고 디 단단한 주어도 요디 오구 주도도 나시 네 수부고 롱고 주도도 주어도 거요 어떤데 삼데스타나 야고요 산산
Most of you familiar with the listening to the Sunday class will have been doing the breathing meditation, breathing exercise with us quite a long time, so maybe you're getting a bit sick of it. So in that sense, it is good to reflect with the inhalation and exhalation on impermanence. So when the inhalation has happened and you're breathing out, well, that inhalation is gone. And when you're inhaling, that exhalation is gone. So just being aware of that momentary nature of change within the breath, this change is constantly taking place. Because if you are getting a lot of scattered thinking, discursive thought, but just coming back to the fact that with that inhalation, the exhalation that you just had has ceased, and with that exhalation, the inhalation you just had has ceased. Just that awareness of the moment by moment breathing process in terms of impermanence can also connect with the fact that the body's changing moment by moment. That's a very important point.
다들레 다리 둔다데 믹세 다 두세제 욱라 따단데 야고 지가 욱츠 단 파단도 욱라 따니 단 욱니 로가요 하고도로 우리 교릉보 산다나 망보 싱그리 된다네로 디 따단데 간도 이모션을 따고라다 네 수수 이모셔널 파 주되어 많이 비슷하대요 아니 디 따단데 수수 류단 따단 두 스타위나 아니 ngaasiadi sebu shibji hako yongurwa ti hako na ane jime ni dami komyada dhile pendo bechambo yarwa.
So the task for the following week would be to watch the breath again, and if you become used to watching the breath over time, you can start to kind of even out with it. Other things begin to come up. For example, you start to recognize, because you are aware of the breath, certain sensations, feelings, or emotions that are coming up. And then you can also recognize the body, be mindful of the body when you're breathing. And through these changes of emotion and recognizing the body, you can even start to question through that space, okay, so what is I? Who am I? So these type of things. And this is very useful because we are going to meditate on non-self.
Ti da susu nyamyo tane ngada nge uk nge emotion nge lose tu susu semna la chadan de da kom samlo dana ane hakura da di she susu nyamyo tane she ur she dana ane be ya godora.
So that referential process, that experience the experience you yourself get from being aware of, oh, no, I'm breathing my breath, or or my feelings, or my body. So what you're starting to do is to recognize your emotions. My desires, attachment, my aversion, things like this.
단도 다 다 제일게 샤는데로 다 옥디 옥이 주어담베 삼루단단게 지수 좌로들레나 아니 옥단야디게 배소서 시와 한조 셈 한조 셈 시와서야 달라 둔다 저 셈 시와 소단간라 다 배전치고요 한조 상모 셈 시와 고고요와 셈 시와서야 게 탐나야슈데 옥을 삼루단야디레다 당고 가랑 때 레일하고 셈 슉쳔보와 남도 그냥 뭐 우중을라로와 한조 셈 시와 매버 가르사야 한조 남도 많다. 주미지 남도 많다. 삼다야 많다. 천야 많다. 톡바 많다. 텐종 많다. 레와 많다. 딜레데네 네심베 라만데 차운데 데마 자야게 탑람이 약쇼데 우종으로 와. 남도 그냥 뭐 우종 성거다.
And just being aware of the breath and the changes that are taking place as one breathes is a tremendous support or taste of peace of mind. These last few weeks, we are all about cultivating peace of mind through being aware of the breath. Conversely, what is it that obstructs your mental peace? Why are we training in these bigger breaths? Well, because there's a lack of mental peace because you do have a lot of thoughts. Your mind is distracted. You do have hopes. You have all these mental constructs. So now we're trying to pacify, and the only way to mental peace is to pacify those, and the best method, it is said, to pacify those is being aware of breath, breathing meditation.
나 까당기시 랑르탕바 아니 탄다 매베 옥춘의 단요 매송도
Ale.
옥단도 베다 지 동네 냠네 닝지던데 잠단요데 옥데베 탄다 매베 옥단요 매송도 세상자 달로정 냠네 오네 챤나 근데요라
The Tibetan yogi Kadampa yogi Langritamba said, no breath should be wasted. No breath should go to waste. In short, not to not use the breath, meaning that if you are using the breath properly, it is the basis upon which you create compassion. You do Tonglen.
다 다리 둔다데 조디 먼저 수수심 시워서야게 탑람 아니 신다던데 요네 디고 수술로 봐 다심 시워서야게 탑람 안 디용하는 수수 다 라마 지야죠로다 네 자외 라마 지지 인라죠로 어디서 당하도 주텐제 아니 다 시워서 그래 심 툭대가 간나 자외 라마 당하마면 다 자외 라마 같이 오라 제가 다 라마 테나 어디도 텐제 당하 뒤도 걸으면서 아지지 예 니니 예런 디펜도 말다라
Now, there might be other means that help you to find your mental peace. For example, listening to the root guru's advice. Well, that might be fine, but if the mind is already disturbed and upset, what is the use of the guru's advice then? So in that sense, then, still, if the mind has become perturbed, then you've already gone into these mental constructs, 1, 2, 3, all these things.
어디라다 대인도 다 다리 둔다데니 근데네 다 네거티브 이모션디 야고지 하고 쳇느라 다 셈나 아니 하고 쳇 아니 제일랑서 둔다제마도 근데 그 규당 진다 도저를 다제 쳇느라 다제 쳇 아니 저디 셈데다 다도가나 대야가나 배전 쳐고다 계시슈데 셈 다도가나 대야라다 검자고래로
So this week, starting to be able to recognize emotions which are negative, and as we get further into that, being able to recognize what is behind them, the causes and conditions, but most importantly is placing the mind right now, in this moment.
다 계시주디 삼밥 데스마 털려체 relax체 베 아니 베직 이냠네 소라다 두조 야고 중나 아니 냠네 야고 용거레스로다 아니 가도이네 지 사바도지 라메라 따지데나 베직 데 메메체 카 menjo 차로 그랬어.
So then it would seem to be the point is to relax one's mind, and that is the basic practice we do, not to go chasing something new, some new thing, without being grounded in the basic practice. Then what's the point?
I know at Sarah one teacher has two or their lost students. I know two students, and one is very close to me, and we are same teacher. And one day he asked his teacher, one day practice, and they went both went the teacher, and they want to practice. Zogrim, nga, tandri. They want to practice tandri. This teacher told you need Lamrim Guru devotion and this Lamrim meditation, basic foundation meditation. And my friend said, "Oh, now I need to again start, And he and other monk said, "Oh, I'm too boring now, And then 2 years later, again they went to teacher. Now we did this Lamrim Motandri. No. You keep going again Lamrim practice. And other student give up. He went to Kaju lineage. He went to join Kaju. Yeah, one day Mahmud Kaju Mahmud practice. And then I heard later this story. And then he went there Kaju. And then some teacher said, "Oh, you need to practice basic." They usually call ngondo. They not call Lamrim. They ngondo is the very important thing. Preliminary. And he did nearly 3-4 years. Again he went to the Lama. Ngondo nearly finished. And he said, "Oh, you need strong Guru devotion. You need practice." They start again Lamrim. And he said, "Oh, no, I want to Tandri." Then he went. He gave up. He went to Nyingma lineage. He went to Nyingma lineage. And then he went there, and they said, "Oh, okay, you want to Dzogchen?" He want to Dzogchen practice. And this Lama said, "Oh, you need more ngondo, need Tibat, those things, 2-3 years he did. After this Lama said, "You need stay, need Guru devotion, And then after 11 years, and I met him in Buddhagaya. It was both, other monk and this one. We have cup of tea drinking. And they are very close. And then he said, "Now I'm stay to Guru devotion practice." And other monk follow one path teacher. I think he realization Lamrim or Midiscope, and he looks a little God son. Pronunciation, Laura.
It looks like he has got some signs of uncontrived pronunciation.
And he has some Kamabadian level, maybe 8 level. He said, "Please don't tell other people." And he offered Holiness Dalai Lama, this Tokpa Pura. He offered Holiness Dalai Lama, this his practice level. He said, "Don't tell." This reason I don't tell the name. And this story, do you understand what I'm talking?
He's asking, do you get the point?
What?
Yeah.
And then I think this is important. I think those people have is these people want send. They want instantly and suddenly, quickly changing. Need powerful, top. Need to focus the basic, and also we thinking we do basic practice. We not really do sincere practice, just learning. Learning is still not really your part of start, right?
Yeah.
Not really full start, And then how many put another job here, put how many effort, how many one day how many hours you can put in practice. Check then, evening. Today how many hours I did sincere practice. Not much, isn't it? Not much. You see, we clear see. 제장 저 주주 튼뒤 지나라 창마라야 삼무 단지요 말했어. Right.
That would be not good to think that in a small amount of time one's going to get it all.
Especially mental happiness, or you want to transforming your suffering or problem, takes time, right?
Yeah.
Not easy. I need effort, and I need not give up. Try to more tolerance practice. The example, similar example, dark flow on the water, dark flow. Doesn't matter how many big waves, stay dark on the water. Go, sometimes come dark, stay, go on the water. Exactly, we need similar dark. Dark jolling marde. Jizang the Mangbez and Lobjilado. Mangbody Timber shows daughter. I think dark mount is very stable. I think stable our tembo. I think I have friended some dark them. As we have been nearly 7 years, I think 6 years, 7 years something. Every year coming there, they know me and they very trust me. And relax. 3 dogs, very stable. I think better than some people mind. And dog has some peasant me poor. So what dog?
Oh yeah, they leave the shit behind.
I think this is the dog give me peasant. It's good exercise for me. Little bit cleaning. Yeah. Ordinary. As long as I am ngangbek zene jaya dwarwa. Ngangbo zo be tembo da ko ran. Ngangbo zene ngzo jaya dwa.
We can observe their kind of steady behavior and take something from that.
And their couple relationships looks very strong, isn't it? Oh. Whole year same coming, changing. I think.
You know, whole year one partner.
Yeah, no whole time is there. Amazing. You look now, people. More worse the dark. That's true, really. Changing laws, changing. Wow, unbelievable changing. People want changing. Mind is too sensitive. Too sensitive, I think. And then too quickly want to be everything, right? I think this is impossible, making more worse. Isn't it? Chobu chobu goes at the Tujuraya in the Fagordan. Another, I think bigger, we see big picture, just not thinking small picture. Everyone want to make this world become better, success. I think making more worse, This reason, everyone wanting better food, better quality, everything's better, better, better. But the reality, no better, make more worse. This is big picture, And some more our individual life exactly the same. Mm. Therefore, be a little bit relaxed and calm down. Important, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
This much. That and the COVID thing, it fell shagda. COVID thing, that shasa, jumping thing, this shasa.
So important to have a relaxed mind, and the conditions of COVID have given us such opportunity to be completely relaxed.
재산다, 재산도 다 가두이네. 수수 다다와 가나 대야당. 아니 개치슈디 수수 틀이 유미데. 자와 닝지단 데메고네 메지게tum나. 아니 메지기고 용거로 와서라.
Best as you can, remain in the present moment, and most important, those that you are close with, have affection for them in relation. Those close to you.
다 닝지게라 단다 그 고무 시름도서 잡토네 야고 용해라야지. 이 네거티브 땅 하나도 네거티브 초아 근데 망고 용거라 드제 뭐고 규드서 항상 듣는다 제마 그 검jam나 다른 것도 또직 야고시 따당도서 그봐 우르 따당당 이모션 따당당 나라 따당당 예 룰 따당도서 야고직도서 야고지 하고 셰도나 아니 디네니 디젠 단데 디젠 디 야고지 총나 안 제마디 제디 야고 용거래서 봐
Now, with regards to the compassion, cultivating great compassion, it's important to be able to recognize these things or conditions that appear negative to us. What's their evolution? What's the kind of what's their nature? What's the cause behind them? And that's why it's important. What we've been doing the last few weeks is just watching the breath and just being aware or recognizing feelings, recognizing the body, recognizing what am I in that context, and then we'll be going into the causes behind.
하버도 다 나라서 상상하는데 요래 배나 메제나라야 동해당 강해로든데 태운데 나라디도 당아디 가우면도 사드 말라와시지 코로나 따제데디 코로나 예로 고 미다고로 와고 교도 세상 단기지 아라마데 버시우지 인제데 콜라 파따 데버 다그란 게 예로야 텐데 마 잠려야 텐데 여러분 뒤중 언제 코르데 파 예르니디 예마주 수 탁보스여로 나라디도 나라둥이디도 나라 강이디도 나라 이모션디도 나디 교면도 나야고면도 나가게면도 디체디 수 신샤 수 코파말로베제 코나파 누구 요르데레 파말로베제 수 신샤로 타타 데비나 아니 싱기요 말하네 코 란슈게 티베 오네시나 누가 쳔볼 셈 쉬어서야기 탑람 emotional 다 먼저 되자단도 좀 남도라 따대버들와 디곰그 탑람디 빼 야고를 동원해시나 다곰 맞잡나나 냠뇽도 용구 말해서 봐 스스로 곰 맞잡나나 냠뇽도 곰 잡다 아니 냠뇽도 하고 그래 아니 원에 지금 스스로 더러워지 네 용구 여러 봐
In this life, sufferings and difficulties will come. And sometimes, although you might not like it, if you are able to quietly observe, it goes of its own accord. There's a tremendous reasoning there, just watching it. But what happens is we tend to make it worse by adding a very strong I to it, like I have this problem, I have this emotion, I have this feeling.
Tiring 어디 government was.
Yeah, or I don't like such and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like this difficult circumstance. Now, what's happened here is if you'd just been quiet and observed, it was going to go away anyway, but now you invited it in. You added onto it and made it worse. So this, I said, this method where we just observe initially the feelings that are coming up is so powerful, so much benefit. Of course, having said that, you have to do it. You have to put effort into your meditation. Because if you don't do it, you won't get the experiential result.
야, 따드네 건다 드린 건다 저런저네. 그냥 딱 뭐만 시리 저런 싸워드니 나님이 딱 만자 하고 그래 건다. 그래서 드린 내가 너를 제나 네 제가 치야다 네디 산이 지금 인상에 네 교시야 치야다. 딜레야다 님부터 시고네 샤고 치야 되는데 시도나 네 님은 파장마로 버지 소도나 수승원에 다 장마로 교시체 아니 야게릭데 유로 가르가르체는 꼼자위나를 밀레 편도 체나 된데 중소상 가와꼼 대공어면람 야구체 근데 쟤네는 산잉에 될 하고하게는 꼼자야당 밀레 편도 체야당 된데 지긴 삼 탐제체 아니 니 후도도 왜나 근데 니마지기 가서 꼼냐랭도당 림바데레스로
Now recalling again, excuse me, the mode of meditation in one day. So coming to the end this evening, or at the end of every evening, you reflect on what has happened during the day, if there has been mistakes that one has made, confessing, regretting and opening them out, and using the 4 opponent powers as countermeasures to purify, and then making the resolve not to recommit such mistakes the next day is good. So that is if the day has gone not as well as it could have, if there have been negative things that have been done. Conversely, if it's gone well, if you have helped others on the way, been able to give them good advice, if the meditation or the practice has gone well, rejoice in that. And then at night, having rejoiced, you dedicate those merits to your goal, and then the sleep becomes virtue. So that is how to do day by day.
다드네 마 치크시 때문에 저런저 꼼잡지 뭐 대응서 겨와서 꼼잡 최시 최우들링 제거디 겨와사여로 겨와사고에 겨웠다 아니 미망버지기 단다 있나 겨와사게 여러 아니 겨와도 참마 직전불링 시디 돼야 당 아니 지 내림도 파시도야 다 고비도 파 조금에 차도야 다 안 중에 뇌지도 파시도야 다 아니 미녀서 보스던데 셈톡제다 다만도 강에 셈톡되다 간다 셈톡니 밀레 차와치고 여러 와도 저리도 파시도야 아니 지다 간다 장매 줄래야지 셈바야 오직다 다 약쇼지랑도 등상 로충주 망보게 아니 지 곰당 아니 지다 셈나기 디지다 텐데가라 도난치니 슈크처를 두고도 디베 어디 야고도 텐데릭데네 파만즈 도톰나 잠블링데 레와요르다 디메베시제 당가 먼저기 빨라 아무나 컨제 미도게 릭디게 잠블링 촐라타로다 근데 봐 디 미도디 페샤지고 간라야 카리 잠블링 상와 베 제도야디 레가데 채나 잠블링 교고 촐라도레 다단다 로충아드제 딜 거그멘도 와 디논드인 바디 하고도 와 근데 하고니 미디 망보 고여 당아서 계지셰 투미데 수스텐데 망보 고여 어딘데 용야 치되네 멜람잡 아니 알아서 상매게 냠내도 파야고 야 멜람야고 잡쇼스 아니 애들 마치 카시 스트렌치란서 곰잡라
Now I will do a few verses of dedication verses. And in that light, what we have been about today is Dharma, spiritual practice, and we have collected the virtues together. Not just us, many people have collected virtue. That we dedicate for world peace, that there are no diseases, that COVID is pacified, the harms from the four elements being shaken up are pacified. The fact that human beings harm each other from hallucinated states of mind, may that be pacified. That people's minds are well intentioned and good. Particularly these days, there are a lot of young people who are showing interest in meditation and trying to make a new path in the world. That's fantastic. They are looking to increase love. And in that sense, for our world, there is hope. Hope in the sense that we would not be wasting the hard work that our parents did for us on the one hand to have this opportunity, and latterly to correct the mistakes that our parents made, because the younger generation have inherited mistakes that we see in the world now, and we're trying to change that. So recognizing those mistakes and adjusting to change them. So now, to that end, you should pray. I will also pray. We pray also that the practice goes well.
No, Sanamdi, Danjesi, Wai, Gomaji, Jadune, Gadana, Jive, Lado, de Sive, Sole, do Show. Chiji, Yao, Zongawe, Chuzi, Nama, Pewodan, Gijit, Samashi, Wadan, Tinjamale, Song Show, Dada, Shingi, Sanda, Dube, Sanjulane. Gawa Shajatu, Demba, Yeren, Bajuju, Dada, Shingi, Sanda, Dube, Sanjulane, Gawa, Los Antowaye. Tenpa yeren baje je josen joren baje maje bana ji jawa nyamba ma ya kone kone be wash gawa di nyude da lama sanje toje je towa ji jamale wa di sala ko bora sho. Oh yeah, okay. Do you have a question? Okay, we stop here.